Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever been in a chat with one of these super powerful AIs? You know, the kind that can write a symphony or explain quantum physics, only to have it completely forget who you are, like 2 minutes later? It's a super common frustration. Well, today, we're going to dive into a fascinating new paper that explains exactly why this happens. And it proposes a brilliantly simple solution to give our AIs a perfect, trustworthy memory.
Okay, let's get right into it. Imagine you've got this brilliant personal assistant. One second, they're writing a beautiful poem just for you. The next, you ask them to remember your favorite color and nothing, a complete blank stare. This is exactly what it feels like talking to so many of today's big language models. So what's really going on inside that digital brain?
You know, the secret here isn't about building a bigger, smarter AI. The problem isn't the brain itself. It's more like our brilliant assistant is working at a desk that is just buried under a mountain of messy, sticky notes, with no filing system, none at all. So the solution? We just need to give it a way to get organized. To really get this, we're going to walk through 5 simple steps. First, we'll meet the forgetful genius to understand the AI's core problem. Then we'll take a look at its desk full of chaos. After that, we'll introduce the ultimate filing system, see exactly how the system works, and finally, explore what this all means for AI's trustworthy future. All right, first up, let's get to know our genius assistant. Modern AI is incredibly powerful, no doubt, but it has some pretty fundamental limitations that we really need to help it overcome. So the main reason AIs are so forgetful comes down to this one big concept, statelessness. What this means is that every single time you talk to it, it's like you're meeting for the very first time. The second your chat window closes, its memory of that conversation is just gone, wiped clean. It has absolutely no long-term memory of its own. And on top of that, its short-term memory is actually tiny. It's called the token window. Just think of it as the size of the AI's desk. Now, the most powerful models can hold around 200,000 tokens, which are basically pieces of words, at one time. And yeah, that sounds like a lot, but for a really complex project, it's like trying to write a whole novel on a single sticky note. Anything more than that just falls right off the desk and is totally forgotten. So how have we been trying to fix this memory problem until now? Well, honestly, it's been pretty chaotic. We're basically just throwing a jumbled pile of sticky notes, reference books, and random tools onto our assistant's very small desk and just kind of hoping for the best. This brings us to a really crucial shift in how we think about this. For a long time, everybody was focused on prompt engineering, trying to write that one single perfect instruction. But the new idea is context engineering. And this isn't just about writing a better note. It's about giving the AI an entire library and a librarian to manage it. Right now, our toolbox has things like prompt engineering, these retrieval systems called RAG that pull in documents, and ways to plug in different tools. But they're all separate, disconnected pieces. They're not part of some unified system, which, you guessed it, just adds more clutter to the AI's desk. A quote from the paper we're looking at sums it up perfectly. It says, "Our current methods are ad hoc, and they create context that is transient, opaque, and unverifiable." So, in simple terms, all this chaos means the AI's work is temporary, its reasoning is a total black box, and we can't really check or trust its sources. Not great. So how do we clean up this mess? Well, the researchers behind this paper found the answer not by looking to the future, but by going way back to a foundational, really elegant idea from the early days of computing. The solution to our AI assistant's memory problem is surprisingly simple, but it is incredibly powerful. It's a single organizing principle that really changes everything. And here it is. Everything is a file. This is a core idea from the Unix operating system, developed way back in the 1970s. It's this philosophy that you can treat every single piece of information, every program, every device, as if it were just a simple file in a folder. So this approach is called a file system abstraction, and it's basically like giving our brilliant but super messy assistant a universal digital filing cabinet. Now, every piece of information, a past conversation, a useful fact, a software tool, even a quick note from a human, gets its own neatly labeled folder. Everything is organized, it's accessible, and it's all in one place. And this filing system brings these time-tested software principles to AI. It hides complexity, so our assistant isn't totally overwhelmed. It keeps different kinds of information neatly separated in different drawers. And, this is crucial,
It logs every single action, kind of like a librarian stamping every book that gets checked out. This is what makes the whole system so robust, organized, and transparent.
Okay, so what does this new, organized office for our AI assistant actually look like in practice? Let's take a look.
It really just boils down to two simple parts. First, you have the filing cabinet itself, which the paper calls the persistent context repository. That's where all the long-term knowledge gets stored. And second, there's a three-step process for using that cabinet, called the context engineering pipeline.
Now, the filing cabinet has different drawers for different types of memory. There's a scratch pad for temporary notes, an episodic memory drawer for conversation summaries, a fact memory drawer for those permanent facts, and a historical record that keeps an unchangeable log of absolutely everything forever.
And the process for using this amazing filing cabinet always follows three simple steps: the constructor, the updater, and the evaluator. This is the workflow our AI assistant uses to find, use, and file away information perfectly every single time.
So here's what each step does. First, the constructor goes to the filing cabinet, finds the right files for whatever task is at hand, and summarizes them so they fit on the AI's small desk. Next, the updater keeps that desk in sync with the filing cabinet, swapping info in and out as the conversation changes. And finally, the evaluator checks the AI's work for accuracy and then neatly files the results back into the correct drawers. Simple, right?
So why does all of this matter so much? Well, because a clean desk and a great filing system don't just make our AI assistant more organized, they make it fundamentally more reliable, more transparent, and way more trustworthy.
The big payoff here is an AI we can actually work with like a true partner. We get full traceability, meaning we can see exactly which file it read to get an answer. We get verifiability, which lets us check its logic. This creates real accountability. And so importantly, it creates a seamless way for us humans to step in, check the work, and add our own expertise right into the filing system. And this brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. For so long, AI has been this mysterious black box. But with a system like this, its reasoning becomes clear, it's organized, it's auditable, just like looking through a well-kept filing cabinet. So if we can finally trust and understand how our AI thinks, just imagine what incredible new possibilities we can unlock together.